G'day YouTube. I thought I'd do something a bit different today. Having a break, as if you've watched my channel before, you'd know I had some knee surgery a few weeks ago, but definitely back on the mend now and starting to get around and get some things done around the greenhouse and garden. But I thought I'd do a video on repotting Venus flytraps. I don't think I've actually showed these off on the channel before. I've only got a small collection. They're not my focus like Nepenthes, but they're still a really cool carnivorous plant and very easy for everyone to grow. So you'll see here, I've got myself set up. I've got my pots. I've got a bucket of media here. I've already shoved some long fibre sphagnum moss into the bottom of the pot. This is just the dry, dead stuff. And then in here, I've got a very free draining mix. It's probably 1 part peat moss, 1 part sand. It's just a horticultural sand from Bunnings if you're in Australia. And maybe half a part perlite. I didn't really measure the perlite out too well. Just add a little bit extra drainage. So I've speaking to a few people, and what I've found, Venus flytraps love taller pots. So I'm moving them out of these standard little seedling pots into these bigger ones I actually got delivered today. So hence why I'm finally getting around to this. And you can see that they're not looking all that happy. The traps have gotten smaller, started dying back a bit. That's because we're into May now, so they're all going dormant. They'll lose all their summer traps. They'll shrink back down. Some will even die all the way back to the ground, but do not give up on them. I think a lot of people get Venus flytraps at the start of spring or summer. They look great. And then once the weather cools down and they die back, they think, oh, my plant's dead. It looks like crap. They throw it in the bin and move on. But these do come back every summer, unless something goes catastrophically wrong. But nice packed in there so it doesn't shrink down. It probably will shrink down when I water them in properly. And then just using my thumb, put a nice deep hole there. And so this is a big tomato. This is actually been probably the best performer out of all my Venus flytraps. You can see I've already potted up a few there. I've tried some with a top layer of sphagnum, maybe 4 or 5 centimeters. I saw someone doing it recently and thought, why not give it a go? I'm not sure if you'll see, there are a few smaller plants here, like that which divided off the main plant of my B52. Now, I would have liked to have left that on if it just fell off, unfortunately. But something like that would grow a lot faster, still connected to the main rhizome of the plant. And I think with this, I'll be able to show you what I mean. So, give it a good work through. You can see there the old media. You might be able to spot, but some nice, healthy, fresh roots in there. And I'm just going to tease all that apart. I did have a bit of rot issues this past year. Not the best, which I think I didn't have enough sand and perlite in the mix. So just easily tease that apart. Got a little Drosera Burmani here, which I'll try and separate out. And they just pop up everywhere. These will die back completely, and these won't come back come summer. But usually if you have these growing, they'll flower, self-seed, and they'll just spread seeds throughout your pots. Now, they're a small, cute little sundew. They're not going to cause issues in the pots with the Venus flytraps, so I don't mind them. I may chuck a couple in. I might stick some in the greenhouse, see how they go. But for now, I'm just making a little pile on the table there. So yeah, these are bog plants, so it doesn't surprise me. They've been sitting in water. It's quite compact. And a lot of people recommend you repot these every year to get some nice fresh media. You'll see there, I'm hoping you can see that, but this little division here, that's actually already self-separated. So I'll pull that off. That'll go into its own pot. Looks like there's actually at least 2 growth points in there. But this big one's the one we're going to be working with at the moment. I've got a little container of water here. I've just been using that. Wash the old media off. I can get in here, peel out any of the old dead traps and anything that's looking a bit rotten. Give it a nice fresh start when the weather warms up, which I can't wait for. It's about 14 degrees here in Sydney at the moment. The wind's come up, the sun's disappeared. We've had a couple of, I think yesterday morning, it's about 7 degrees when I woke up. So I wasn't getting out of bed too quickly in that. But at least the sun was out yesterday, so it was a bit of a nicer day. So I've cleaned that up sort of to the most part. There's a few dead traps still, and I might come back through later with some scissors and just trim the ones that didn't pull off. You can see there, I mean, that's an old summer trap that's starting to die back. And if I pull that off, it's actually going to take the part of the rhizome with it. Now, if you wanted to propagate, you could just pop that in a pot and it should regrow a new trap. So I might stick that in there with this pot, with this plant, sorry. So this one, you got your nice big hole. I might actually have to widen that a bit more. And just guide the roots in and fill in around that rhizome. Now you don't want to get them buried too deep. And I'm sure the media will sink back a bit once I'll give these a bit of a top water once I'm done. But hopefully you can see there, I've already half buried the rhizome, just a little bit more. And I hope that should avoid too much rot. I think it will settle in a bit more. And as I keep saying, once spring or summer comes, this will burst back into some nice huge traps. And I'm hoping the nice deep pot will do really well for me this coming season. Now, I might do a second one and show you how I did the top dressing of sphagnum moss. So I'll just, mostly fill the pot. Got about 5 centimeters left there. Again, I might just do a little hole in that. I'll break out this other B52. These were absolutely stunning. You can see there, I mean, that's a good size trap on it still, but it's nothing to what they had through summer. Oh. Don't want to forget this little one. I'm just going to put it on top of there so I know it's a B50, oh sorry, not a B52, a big tomato again. And this is where tagging your plants correctly is so important, because as soon as you start losing tags, particularly with Venus flytraps, it's only a single species, and the cultivar names, once you lose the tags, if you only lose one and you know what it is, you can always re-tag, but if it starts getting confused and you lose all your tags, you don't know what's what, it sort of becomes a bit of hearsay on what that plant is, and generally you end up just having to tag it as a typical and live with it. So you can see there, another tiny little division fell off that one. I'll wash that up. And I'm going to repot these back into these smaller pots. They don't need these big pots just yet. So I'm going to start making a little pile actually. Another Burmani in there that's definitely starting to look pretty sad. Keep going on this. Another Burmani. That'll wash. This one definitely had quite a bit of dieback. There's a lot of old dead traps in here. I didn't bother coming through, and I could have cleaned these up. as they started to die back. So there's another division there. There's a smaller one attached to it. That might go into a larger pot too. Now this is the perfect time, whilst you've got them out, if you wanted to really break these up and divide them to give you more plants for trade, for sales and things, this is the perfect time to do that. You can see here you've got old big bit of rhizome, and that side's all really soft and rotten. There is a little life left in there, but I don't think I'll bother replanting that. I don't want rot in my trays. It can spread through the water and could cause issues, so that's going in the bin. I'll just peel back these old traps, make it look a little bit prettier. But there's a beautiful dormant big tomato fly trap. Good example of the rhizome there, which is this white part, and that'll just spread through the pot on its own. So got my pot here, and what I'm going to do is just off camera my bag of sphagnum. I probably should have pre-moistened this, so what I might actually just put a dip in there. Might get a bit dirty, but it's not the end of the world. Squeeze out the worst of it. And I'm actually going to wrap all of that in the sphagnum. Just expand my hole a little bit. Now, a lot of people do. You could just pot that up there, a bit more sphagnum around it, and stick that straight into a pot. But I'm going to stick that in there. And I'm just going to fill in around it. I'm hoping you can actually see this on camera. I might move out here. But once I stick these into water trays, these pots will wick all the moisture back up and soak this sphagnum. But you do want to make sure it's fairly full and sort of semi-packed in. I'm not jamming it in there, but it's nice and tight around the root ball. And I may actually go through, I've got some live sphagnum in a tub there and a bit more in the greenhouse. And I might actually do some live sphagnum on top of some of these pots, more to make them a nice display pot more than anything. So there you have it. Venus flytrap repottings. I've got a few, 3 or 4 little divisions there that I'll pot up into smaller pots again. Yeah, that's how I do it. All right, thanks for watching, and see you next time.